Kodai Senga is a joke of a major league pitcher. I mean, it is just unbelievable what has become of this guy. I was a huge fan of the signing back in 2023. 2024, he barely pitches at all. He makes that one start where he gets re-injured pretty much right away, where he looks amazing, and then he comes back for the playoffs and put in a weird situation, probably rushed back, and was kind of sort of effective one time, a little bit, not really. The second time he pitched, it wasn't a huge factor in the run that they made that year. And then last year, he looks like, he would return to his 2023 form, but even better, he had a 1.47 ERA as of June 12th last year. And every Met fan watching this knows that date because that's the day that Pete Alonso, our former first baseman, made that high throw. Senga has to jump up for it, injures his hamstring, and everything has changed since then. Not just with Senga, but with the entire organization pretty much going down the toilet at that point. Like I said, Kodai Senga had the 1.47 ERA last year before he got hurt. Winds up coming back mid to late July from that injury. And since then, this is as of 2 innings through tonight, which is when I put these stats together. So this will be slightly out of date by the time the game ends, but still will paint the picture for you. Since returning from his injury mid last year, Kodai Senga has now allowed 55 earned runs in 65 2/3 innings. That's fucking insane. That is a 7.54 ERA over 16 starts dating back to last year. He has been absolute dog shit, and I blame Senga. I blame whoever on the training staff is working with him, but more than anybody else, once again, I have to blame the front office, because looking at how things went last year, looking at how he barely pitched in 2024 and how big of an issue starting pitching was all of last year for this Mets team, David Stearns and company, it's not just a one-man crew there, there's a lot of people there, decided, hey, let's rely on the combination of Kodai Senga, David Peterson, and Sean Manaea going into 2026, despite everything that happened last year. And what has happened? Sean Manaea, give him credit lately for pitching well, but was essentially relegated as the last guy in the bullpen for the first 2.5 months of this season until they were forced to move him back to the rotation recently. David Peterson has been absolutely unpitchable to the point where not only is he not getting extended, I mean, you might not even be able to trade him for anything at the deadline because he's been so unvaluable these last few months and for the end of last year. And then Kodai Senga's ERA right now, I believe, is over 10 on the season, in addition to the ERA that I cited going back to last year. And it's not about, because you'll get this if you put out this rant about Senga and not trading him or getting rid of him in the offseason. The response you're going to get back is, well, what were you going to get back for him? And it's honestly, to me, it's not even really about that. I spent most of the offseason on this podcast saying there's no way he can be back because of not only everything that he did on the field and everything that happened off the field, but also all the comments that the Mets had made, just the way things had gone. To me, it was an untenable situation, and it was far more about just moving on from Senga. You get as good as you can get back at that point, and who knows what that was. Obviously, the Mets, if they were trying to deal him, which I would suspect that they were, didn't find something that they felt was worth it. But I think sometimes you just need to move on from the relationship and not have, they should not have gone into this season relying on Kodai Senga, and look at where it has gotten them. He has been awful when he's pitched, and then of course he gets hurt because he always gets hurt. And Kodai Senga apparently can't pitch unless everything's absolutely perfect. And even with all of that, even with all the coddling that the Mets have done for this guy, he still fucking stinks. And I have seen enough enough of Kodai Senga and enough of Dave Peterson too. But I can't do it anymore. I can't. Whether the Mets, he just gave up another fucking home run as I was in the middle of this rant. So it's now 7-2. I'm not going to update all the stats and do all the math live here, but Jesus fucking Christ, man. If this is not Kodai Senga's last start with the Mets, this organization has no idea what they're doing. You could make the argument that they already don't, but I'm not going to keep going in about that. This is a mailbag episode, but I just needed to get that off my chest because, I mean, how perfect can it be the fact that in the middle of my quick 5-minute rant about Kodai Senga, he gives up a home run in the middle of the rant. So now 7 runs he's allowed tonight. Another banner effort from the former Mets ace.